Happy Monday, folks. We are now in week 6 of distance learning. So I'm going to go through and show you folks what is due this week. Just as always, you want to be in your Google Classroom under whichever period is yours. Make sure you're in the classwork section of that classroom. And then this week, we are looking for week 6 specifically. So this week's a little bit of a lighter week. You have one Google Doc due and a Google form. The reason I made it a little lighter this week is because last week I did introduce some new material, and I want you guys to have time this week, if you need to go back and review the notes and the simulation from last week to help build your skills to try that next practice that I've assigned for you this week. So if you folks head to your assignment log in your Google Classroom, you'll notice here is week 6. It says that we have a balancing act, chemical equations balancing practice Google Doc due, as well as a weekly reflection Google form. So if you guys open that balancing act, balancing chemical equations doc, it's going to look just like this. The directions ask you to practice balancing some chemical equations. So there's 2 parts to this assignment. The first is I'm going to require you to go back and rewatch the video that was embedded in the notes from last week. If you remember, towards the end of the Pear Deck that you completed last week, there was a video in there that stated that it would show you 5 easy steps to balancing an equation. So you're going to click on the link to rewatch that video. It should look like this. And if you remember from last week, it's only 5 minutes long. It goes through those steps one by one to show you how you set up your problem, how you lay out the atoms to be able to count them. Remember, balancing equations is simply looking at your reactants, looking at your products, and counting how many of each atom is on which side. So you're just counting and then making it so that they match on both sides. So hopefully you had an okay time with that last week. This week I want us to go back and do something very similar. So you'll watch that video, and then you'll notice here it says using the video you'll create 5 steps that detail the correct way to balance an equation. Obviously the video is going to help you with those steps. So you're going to type those in here. I just want to make sure that you have something to refer to as you're working. Once you've listed out those 5 steps, you'll scroll down and you'll notice it says to click on balancing act. That is the actual practice for this week. So what it is it's a practice problem website, and you're going to choose the correct combination of equations and difficulty to practice doing some of that work. So you'll notice in the directions it says to set the boxes first to 15 equations and a beginner difficulty. So you're going to go ahead and do that. Come to the website, click 15, click beginner, and then you can hit I'm ready, let's start. Okay, and that will then give you some practice problems. Notice it's asking me to determine how many atoms are on the left, or the reactant side of my equation, how many atoms are on the right, or the product side of my equation, and then I'm going to change my coefficient in order to get that to be the right thing. So notice here, it told me I didn't have quite enough. Okay. I made my coefficient match, but remember you have to multiply this together. So instead of having 2Ks, I technically have 4. So I need to take this number and change it. And now my answer is correct. So you're going to go through this and try some of these. Remember, count those every time, go through, write them out like the video shows you. It'll make the process a lot easier. The way that you'll get the credit for this is if you scroll down, it shows you that you need to complete all of them. And I've got examples for you here. The requirements that you have to make sure you meet is you cannot be stumped on any questions. So if you notice this right side picture here, the third one down says I was stumped. That means that I did not complete the balancing with the amount of tries they give me. You can't have any of those when you're working on this for this assignment. So you need to keep doing those until your results page shows all 10 or all 15 of those problems completed. Okay. Then you'll take a screenshot of your work just like you had last week, and you'll just post that down here where it says paste your screenshot when you have completed the beginner level. Go ahead and screenshot it, copy and paste it into the document, and you will be good to go. Okay. And then it tells you you're going to change it again. The second time you play the game, it'll be 10 equations in the intermediate difficulty level. So again, I'm going to come over here. I'm going to choose 10, which is the normal one, intermediate, which is the normal one, and then I'm going to hit I'm ready, let's start. Okay. Once you've done that, now notice it gives me 2. This time, instead of just balancing one side, I'm going to have to balance both sides. Same process, count everything on the right-hand side, every N, every O, every H. Count everything on the right-hand side, every N, every O, every H, and make sure that they match on both sides. If you remember, you have to end with the same amount you started with, which is why we're balancing these equations, okay? And then same thing at the end, you'll make sure you paste your screenshot when you've completed that intermediate level without being stumped and with having all 10 of those complete, okay? So make sure you paste those there. I've purposely, like I said, given you a little less practice this week so that you have time to go back and review if you need to. I know a lot of us will have to refresh our memories from last week, so please make sure you do that, okay? Once you finish the Google Doc, you'll turn this in, and your only other assignment this week is your weekly reflection. Some of us have been getting a little shorter on our reflections, I noticed from this past week. So just make sure you're meeting that 5-sentence minimum so that you are able to get your points for that week, okay? Reminder on grades, I've been posting or updating your grades in Google Classroom so you can see, but starting from April 20th, I've started inputting your grades in Aries again like I had in the past. So you can either check your grade on Classroom or you can check your weekly grade on Aries, whichever one you prefer is fine. Okay. If you have any questions, make sure you're asking those. Last week, I had students who needed extra help with balancing, scheduled Zoom meetings. We were able to work through those problems together. Please do not be afraid to ask for help. I can definitely help you guys out as much as possible. We can find ways to make sure I can help you get the work done. You just have to let me know you need the help, or else I don't know otherwise. Okay. So, good luck with the work. I hope it goes well for you guys. I hope everything is going well otherwise, and I will talk to you guys really soon.